Hello everyone, welcome to Parasitology lecture series. This is Dr. G.S. Pandey. In the very first lecture, we will discuss about different subtopics under chapter number 1, Introduction to Parasitology. Under this chapter, we will discuss about 5 different points. Number 1, Parasitology and its branches, parasitism, commensalism, mutualism, and scope of parasitology. Let us discuss these points one by one. The theory paper parasitology is the interesting one. I am sure every one of you will enjoy various discussions related to different topics under parasitology. Now let us first understand what parasitology is. There are different definitions of parasitology. The first one is by Wikipedia. According to Wikipedia, parasitology is the study of parasites, their host, and the relationship between them. The second definition is from freedictionary.com. According to this definition, parasitology is the scientific study of parasites and of parasitism. There is one more definition according to Merriam-Webster dictionary. Parasitology is the branch of biology dealing with parasites and parasitism. And the last one being Oxford Dictionary definition. Parasitology is the branch of biology or medicine concerned with the study of parasitic organisms. Now, all these are accurate definitions based on different dictionaries and different sources. But to simplify the definition, you just remember parasitology is the study of parasites. Now the parasitology subject is divided into different sub branches. The most common is the medical parasitology, which is part of medical syllabi. For example, a MBBS student has to study medical parasitology during its course of tenure. Now, medical parasitology is the study of those parasites which are concerned with human health or they are of medical importance. For example, in medical parasitology, we study malarial parasite Plasmodium vivax. Now, Plasmodium vivax is of human health concern. This parasite causes malaria disease to human being. Now, this parasite is protozoan parasite and is studied under medical parasitology. There are many more such parasites which cause health problems to human beings. Few more examples can be cited. For example, itch mite Sarcoptes scabies is a mite but causes scabies disease to the human being. Ascaris lumbricoides is a roundworm belonging to phylum Nematoda. This roundworm causes health problem in human being that is called as ascariasis. Just like human parasites, the domestic animals also harbor different type of parasite which are concerned with their health also. The health of domestic animals is of economic concern to human being. The veterinary parasitology The second branch of parasitology is the study of parasites of domestic animals. So we have different type of domestic animals such as dogs, cattle, sheep, buffaloes, horses, donkeys, different type of birds. All these animals are important for economy. They generate money for the person which harbors them or which culture them. For example, a poultry is a great business. Similarly, fishery is a big business in India and throughout the world. So all these animals may also have parasites, and study of the parasites of these animals comes under veterinary parasitology. Similar to these two main sub branches, you may also encounter some additional types of parasitology, for example, medical or veterinary helminthology. Now, this word is related with the study of helminth parasites of medical or veterinary importance. The protozoan parasites of medical and veterinary importance are studied under medical or veterinary protozoology. Now, the next point under this chapter is parasitism. Now, consider two different animals. For example, as you can see in the picture, at the top left, there is a picture of a dog. The ear of the dog is having many ticks attached to it. Now, tick is a ectoparasitic animal. Tick is an arthropod. It is not insect, but it belongs to phylum Arthropoda. Now, tick attaches to the skin of parasite and sucks the blood of dog. Now, tick is ectoparasite of dog. Tick may also attach to the body of cattle such as sheep, goat, horses, donkeys, and it sucks their blood. Now we are considering two animals, dog and tick. Now dog is the host and tick is the parasite. Now these two animals live together in a such a way that one is benefited and other is harmed. Tick is benefited, dog is harmed. Now such type of association between two animal species in which one member is benefited and other is harmed is known as parasitism. Now the partner in associationship that is benefited is usually known as parasite, and other partner which is harmed is known as host. Now parasite gets nutrition, shelter and suitable environment for living and reproduction on the body of its host. Host provides nourishment, shelter and suitable environment to its parasite. And many times this associationship is lifelong. Some parasites live on the body of their host throughout their life, that is during entire period of their life from birth till the death. Some parasites live on the body of their host only for temporary periods. They will suck the blood or they will take the nutrition and then they will fall off from the body and will live elsewhere. If they are hungry again, they will come back to their host. Now, under parasitism, we come across three different terms: a parasite, host, and vector. Now, parasite is the organism that lives on or within the body of another organism, obtaining nourishment and protection while offering no benefit in return. For example, take head louse. You might be familiar with tick and head louse both. Head louse lives within the hairs of the head of human being. It attaches to the scalp and sucks the blood. It causes great irritation and itching to the human host. Another term under this section is host. So, what is a host? Host is an organism that harbors the parasite. In other words, host is an organism within or on whose body the parasite lives. For example, tick lives on the body of dog, hence dog is the host of tick. Head louse lives on the body of human being, hence human being is the host of head louse. Now, one more term that is called as vector or carrier is commonly used in parasitology. Now, vector simply means carrier of pathogens. Let us consider one example, a protozoan parasite Plasmodium vivax, which causes malaria disease in human being. Now, the Plasmodium vivax is not able to transfer to human being by itself. However, it takes the help of mosquito, female Anopheles mosquito, and gets transferred to human being when female Anopheles mosquito bites or sucks the blood of human being. So in this case, mosquito is a carrier which facilitate transfer of pathogenic organism from one host to other or from one individual to another individual of the same host. Similar to mosquito, snail is one more example of a vector animal. For example, many aquatic snails transfer Fasciola hepatica to the ships. In ships, it causes a disease called as fasciolitis or liver rot. Fasciola hepatica is a helminth parasite which comes under flatworms. So please remember, vector is the carrier of parasite which transfers the pathogenic organism to different hosts or different individuals within same host. The next definition under this chapter is commensalism. Now, commensalism involves associationship between two different living organisms in which one is benefited and other is not significantly harmed or benefited. That means one partner gets benefit, but other partner may not get any benefit, but it is surely not harmed. For example, shark and remora fish. Both of them are fish, but remora fish is small sucker fish. Shark is big fish. Both are marine fish. Now, what remora fish does is it attaches to the ventral side just behind the mouth of the shark using its sucker. Now, when shark feeds on its prey, some food particles pass behind, and those food particles are fed upon by remora fish. Hence, remora fish gets ready-made food particles or food pieces as the shark feeds on its prey. One more benefit remora fish gets is it gets transported from one place to another free of cost simply by attaching to the body of shark. Shark is not harmed by remora fish. Shark is a very big size fish. When a very small tiny fish attaches to its body, it doesn't have any problem. It feels no problem, it is not harmed at all. So shark is not benefited or harmed from the remora fish, but remora fish gets some benefits or important benefits from shark. So this type of partnership or associationship is called as commensalism. Commensalism literally means dining at the same table or feeding together. Now the next definition under this chapter is mutualism. Now this term is very commonly used in colloquial languages. Many times you say a mutual transfer or mutual benefit. So mutual benefit means both the partners get benefited. It is an associationship between individuals of two different species where both the partners get benefited. Let us take example of termites and flagellate protozoan. Termites are also known as white ants. In the center of this slide, you can see the photograph of ant-like white colored termites. Termites live in the soil or in the soil mounds. In the intestine of termites, minute microscopic parasites live. Mutualist partners live. They are called as flagellate protozoans. In the right bottom of this slide, you can see bluish colored flagellate protozoans. They are very small, microscopic. They live in the intestine of termites. Now, how these two animals are beneficial to each other? The termites feed on cellulose from the wood, but termites cannot digest cellulose because termites cannot produce cellulase enzyme, which is required for digestion of cellulose. Now, this enzyme is produced by flagellate protozoans. They digest the cellulose from the wood and make nutrients available for the termites. So, without flagellate protozoans, termites cannot digest the cellulose from the wood. So, this is the benefit termites get. So, without flagellate protozoans, termites will not be able to survive. Now, what benefits flagellate protozoans get from termites? Now, these flagellate protozoans live in the intestine of white ants. So, they give a place for living. Plus, flagellate protozoans also get the food in the intestine of the termites. So, both of them are mutually beneficial to each other. Such a partnership is called as mutualism. So till now we have discussed three major terms: mutualism, commensalism and parasitism. Now these two photographs briefly explain these three types of terms. So in commensalism, which means dining together, both the partners fit together. One may get benefited, other is not benefited or harmed. In mutualism, both partners are benefited, and in parasitism, only one partner is benefited and other is harmed. So in the lower photograph, plus sign means benefit. In mutualism, both the partners are benefited. In commensalism, one partner is benefited and other partner neither benefited nor harmed. In parasitism, one partner is benefited, other is harmed. Now, coming to the last point under this chapter, why do we study parasitology, or what is the scope of parasitology? Now, this parasitology is very important subject, especially in the medical syllabi. Every medical student, such as MBBS student, BAMS student, BHMS student, have to study medical parasitology. Every veterinary student. So in India, we have a veterinary degree, BVSC, Bachelor of Veterinary Sciences. So these are doctors of animals. Now veterinary science students also has to study veterinary parasitology, because many parasites cause health problems in domestic animals. There are numerous parasites which cause health problems in human being. So both medical and veterinary sciences have to deal with parasites. So parasitology is important for maintaining health of human being and its domestic animals. That is why we study parasitology. The parasitology also presents an interaction between two different group of organisms. So this comes under a subject ecology. The relationship between two or more different organisms comes under interactions among organisms. So there are different type of interactions, and parasitism is also one of the type of interactions. So under ecology, this type of interaction is studied along with many other type of interactions. So parasitology is important in ecology also. The evolutionary biologist and evolutionary science students also study the evolution of parasitism. So how animals started living as parasites. This is an interesting topic to study about. An evolutionary biologist tried to find out how parasitism evolved, how animals or organisms started a way of life that is very unique. In parasitism, one animal or one partner has to depend on other animal for their needs important for survival. So how parasitism evolved is important topic in evolutionary sciences. In addition to this, parasitology is important in many other fields of sciences such as genetics, biotechnology, and many other subjects. Students, I think this is enough for the very first lecture. I will post the notes for this chapter in Google Classroom. The video lecture will also be posted. Kindly send me feedbacks and suggest for improvements. Thank you very much for patience listening.